when that news got out, Pfizer gave $1 million contribution to Trump.
Most Republican media refuses to tell you the truth about how complicit Republicans were with the Big Pharma corruption of 2020, but the cycle will continue if real journalism isn't done. So let's get into it. Did you know that Donald Trump gave Dr. Anthony Fauci, Deborah Birx, and General Mark Milley a presidential award on January 19th after January 6th, giving them high praise and high reward for their big pharma, big government socialist Operation Warp Speed rollout? And yes, it is socialism because it's not free. It was taxpayer funded, taxpayer purchased. The whole thing is socialist, even without the mandates. Let's listen to RFK Jr. explain how it really started.
That the people are normally put in charge of these agencies, and this was what Trump did too. You know, Trump came in and he promised to drain the swamp. And then, he named me as head of the Vaccine Safety Commission.
Before we continue, most Republican influencers that like Trump constantly gaslight and lie to their audience and say, he got fooled. He's just a boomer who doesn't know vaccines, blah, 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 blah. And it's not true. Trump was tweeting about vaccine injuries and connections people didn't want to talk about or speculate on before he got into office, and he tapped RFK Jr. for that reason to run a vaccine safety commission. You've probably never heard of it because it didn't happen because Trump sided with the swamp instead of with what he actually believes.
And I started that function. I met with Fauci, I met with Collins, and was putting together that, project. And then when that news got out, Pfizer gave $1 million contribution to Trump.
Like other politicians, Trump lied. He said he didn't need other people's money. Most Republican influencers won't report that wasn't true. He took over $100 million in corporate donations for his inauguration, which is pretty much a bribe, by the way. He took even more than Obama. He worked with Sheldon Adelson, the mega donor that gave him tens or hundreds of millions of dollars after saying that Marco Rubio would be his perfect little puppet. But Pfizer did donate $1 million to Trump's campaign.
I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I don't need anybody's money. I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using donors. I don't care. I'm really rich.
I had yesterday a lobbyist call me up. It's a friend of mine, good guy. He said, Donald, I want to put $5 million into your campaign. I said, I don't need it. I don't want it. He said, no, I want to put $5 million in. I said, I don't want it.
I don't want their money. I turned the money down. I turned down so much money. I feel like such a stupid person.
And while you might think that that's not a large amount for a billionaire, Trump's not out here spending his own money when he's taking hundreds of millions of dollars of donations. If he doesn't want to be compromised, he could turn it down, but he didn't. And then he shut down the Vaccine Safety Commission with RFK Jr.
And Trump appointed two Pfizer's handpicked candidates, Alex Azar, to run HHS, and Scott Gottlieb, who was a partner of Pfizer, to run FDA.
Yep. Look it up. That's who Trump picked for HHS, an Eli Lilly executive/pharmacy lobbyist, Alex Azar, who also got a presidential award with Fauci and Mark Milley on January 19th. Not his loyal supporters who got set up at the Capitol following President Trump. It was Milley, Fauci, Kushner, Birx, and the pharma executive that Trump let run the government, HHS, 2 layers above Fauci. That's who got the award. And Scott Gottlieb.
And, Gottlieb came in there, did an $88 billion gift to Operation Warp Speed for Pfizer, and then left to join Pfizer's board and collect his payoff. So, that is the swamp. And people come in wanting to change it, but they get intimidated by these big agencies. And they...
As RFK calls him, a Pfizer guy who ran off to Pfizer after he did what he needed to do in government, thanks to Trump employing the pharmacy swamp after he took $1 million Pfizer donation. Let's keep listening.
And they, get frightened because, the agency can hurt you. If you go after that agency, there's a lot of top-level officials in there who can commit all kinds of civil disobediences that will embarrass the president. And so what they do is they appoint somebody who's safe.
Just one more small clip.
They look at the agency, they say, I'd like to change that, but I got other agendas. They leave the whole, instrument of corruption intact, and they appoint somebody who's safe.
So when it comes to everything we saw in 2020, I know people like to write it off as if, the Democrats did it. Trump's an innocent victim. It came out of nowhere. He's not responsible at all. But when you hire the pharmacy swamp for HHS and FDA, when you go against your own values to shut down a vaccine safety commission to side with Pfizer and the swamp, you're going to get the results that follow.
Vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind.
Yes, in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it.
He's not a victim to any of this. And it gets even deeper to other stuff that most Republican media will not report because it ruins their whole fake illusion. And I'm convinced that they care more about making money and keeping sponsors than they do telling you the truth, which is textbook definition of a sellout. But as much as all these Republican influencers say, oh, we're fighting Bill Gates and the vaccine agenda, oh, Bill Gates and vaccines, blah, 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 they can't possibly believe that because Trump is in on it. In 2018, Bill Gates said that Trump offered him a White House position. How come nobody asked President Trump this in an interview? How come? You know why? Because they probably don't want to know the answer because it'll ruin their whole fake little hangout. They're convincing you that they actually care about stuff. In reality, they care about making money, hanging out with their friends. That's it. And the reason that I think that Trump probably did hire Bill Gates is not just that article believing everything he says. It's the fact that he told the press that he got Trump super excited about a universal flu vaccine. And he told Trump that he would be that guy and he would be praised for his science. And Bill Gates said that to the press in 2018. In 2019, Donald Trump, before the pandemic, passed a universal influenza vaccine executive order to modernize influenza vaccines. And the rhetoric that Bill Gates told the press that he told Trump in 2018 almost matched exactly what Trump passed through executive order. So is the Trump MAGA movement fighting the quote unquote Bill Gates agenda? Or are they only doing it when someone they don't like does it, but when Donald Trump tries to hire him and takes exactly what he says and pushes it through executive order around Congress in 2019?
Vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind.
Yes, in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it.
All of a sudden, these citizen journalists and activists turn into nothing, a puddle. They don't care. They can't possibly care, or else they would report this and ask questions.
Then the second time I saw him was the March after that, so March 2017 in the White House. In both of those two meetings, he asked me if vaccines weren't a bad thing. Because he was considering a commission to look into ill effects of vaccines, and somebody, his name is Robert Kennedy Jr., was advising him that,
Trump came in and he promised to drain the swamp, and then, he named me as head of the Vaccine Safety Commission.
Vaccines were causing bad things, and I said, no, that's a dead end. That would be a bad thing. Don't do that.
When I was president, you didn't have people protesting the vaccine. If you just think back, everybody wanted to get it, and we were giving out over 1 million shots a day. Saved in the world, I saved 100 million lives.
Even Ron DeSantis recently went on Russell Brand's show to point out that President Trump gave awards
during COVID. I was the one fighting Fauci. Donald Trump put Fauci in charge.
To Fauci and Milley and Big Pharma 2 weeks after January 6th, right before he got out of office.
He never fired Fauci. In fact, Donald Trump's last day in office, he gave Fauci a presidential commendation. And I'm just thinking to myself, this guy had been responsible for justifying school closures.
That's not a red flag to people?
For justifying mandates, for justifying lockdowns. And by January of 2021, we knew how destructive it was. We knew it had failed. So on the biggest hysterical issue, the biggest current thing.
Here's 3 people that Trump pardoned or commuted with his pardon list. It wasn't Edward Snowden and Julian Assange. It was this guy named Weinstein, who recently just got caught again in another massive scam after Trump let him out of prison. Jared Kushner's father, who had some sort of crazy sexual blackmail scheme against the brother-in-law. That's why he was in jail. Look up that story. It's insane. And then an Israeli spy who was selling out America and some of our secrets. Trump bailed him out of jail too. Not his supporters. He's giving awards to Fauci, pharmacy lobbyists, Dr. Birx, Kushner, and General Mark Milley, who he hired. And although I don't like or trust Chris Christie, he makes a great point here saying, is Trump fake or stupid? Because he kept trying to hire me and listen to me. So either Trump's lying to you or he's lying to himself.
This guy offered me White House Chief of Staff and then is on a podcast yesterday saying he never trusted me. Well, what does that make him? A liar or an idiot? It's one or the other. Because if you offer me chief of staff and you never trusted me, then you're an idiot. And if you did trust me enough to offer me chief of staff, then you're a liar.
But I put somebody in that the other side, everybody agreed to. You know who recommended him to me? Chris Christie. Okay, he recommended him. And that's okay. I don't mind that. I've taken Chris Christie's recommendations before.
And as much as MAGA will look at that and say, oh, no, that's not true. Trump is on video on Sean Hannity explaining that he picked his FBI director because Democrats like the FBI director and Chris Christie told him to. And Trump often listens to Chris Christie's recommendations. And this fake WWE fight you see between them, Trump calling Chris Christie names, he also did that in 2016. What does it tell you that after he puts on this fake, oh, I hate Chris Christie show?
And that's okay. I don't mind that. I've taken Chris Christie's recommendations before.
He's constantly listening to his advice for some of the biggest hires in his department. Why do I bring up this stuff? Because the whole Republican Party is fake. Turning Point might as well just call them a socialist big pharma party because they have no journalistic integrity when it comes to calling out the Republican Party and Trump with the CARES Act, the most costly socialist bill in modern history. Operation Warp Speed, which isn't good just because there's no mandates. The whole thing was corruption from the time Trump got into office and turned his back on RFK to the time he's funneling tens of billions of socialist dollars to Big Pharma and then buying their doses. Nothing about it was organic. And I'm not just talking about the synthetic mRNA. I'm talking about from front to jump, without the Republican Party being a socialist borderline communist party, none of this vaccine corruption is even possible, but that's what the Republicans do.
And look, I guess in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it. You know, to get it done in less than 9 months was a miracle.
They lob up tyranny to the Democrats, and then Democrats dunk it in your face, and then Republicans act like they didn't pass them the ball. They're John Stockton. The Democrats are Karl Malone dunking in your face, but, oh, we didn't pass on the ball. No, you absolutely did. And this idea that he's this innocent victim who had nothing to do with the corruption of 2020 is a provable lie. And now they're bringing in a big pharma bro who was shaming conservatives in July in 2020, pushing the government status quo. Everyone eligible should get vaccinated with the vaccine. Good job, Biden, etc. on getting it to everybody. He's going to lead the Republican Party with no scrutiny and no pushback from Turning Point USA. All these imbeciles in Republican media that are interviewing these people without an ounce of journalistic pushback. Are you kidding me? If the Republican base acts like doormats, you're going to get stomped all over, and it's not their fault. It's your fault. If you act like a doormat, walk like a doormat, talk like a doormat, demand the respect of a doormat, don't be surprised if any politician, Trump, DeSantis, Biden, RFK, anyone, don't be surprised when they walk over you and stop complaining. It's not just the left. That's the low-hanging fruit. Oh, the left, the left, the left. What if your party was controlled opposition? What if all the people you thought were fighting, they were actually working with? Did you ever think of that? Of course not, because I'm a buzzkill, right? You don't want to hear that. Well, then enjoy being Charlie Brown with the football and then acting like someone else is doing it. It's nuts. And I'm fine with compassion and showing love to people's past. I don't care. Everybody makes mistakes. I just find it quite ironic that the governor that actually fired a Soros prosecutor is being called the Soros plant, not the guy who took a $160 million loan, $160 million, or the one who was tweeting out his op-eds drooling over them in 2021 and got a scholarship from George Soros's brother. Oh, they're not the Soros candidates. The guy who fired the prosecutor is. Right.
You talk about Donald Trump and trust. The $160 million loan from George Soros, loan for one of his projects as a full-grown adult. I don't fault him for that because he's a businessman.
What a joke this party's become. People are getting brainwashed and mind-controlled to have no critical thinking skills, spew out Saul Alinsky tactics of accusing others of what their candidate's guilty of. All I ask for is real journalism from these Republican sellout losers who act like they're so much better than Fox News. No, you're the new Fox News. You're the new establishment. You're the new insider pretending to be an outsider because people like outsiders. I see through it. A lot of people are seeing through it. And our party does a great job of just blaming the other side while they're working for the other side, hiring the other side, doing socialist deals for the other side. And nobody has the balls or the soul to call them out. I'm not a hater. I'm an American citizen who's tired of being scammed by the uniparty. And the political solution to those who ask, what's the solution? What's the solution? It's to stop acting like a doormat and have a spine and a soul. If you don't have a soul, if you don't have a spine, and you act like a doormat, we, the Republican Party, are not the victims. We're acting like sheep and they're treating us like sheep. And that's what's happening. And I don't care if it's Trump, DeSantis, RFK, or the big pharma bro who's pretending to be the most conservative person alive that was nowhere to be found 2 years ago with this type of rhetoric, that's fine. I just want people to stand firm. If you keep treating these politicians like they're gods or Moses or whatever stupid thing they're trying to brainwash you with this week, they're going to keep scamming you. These people are so obviously professional car salesmen. Treat them like that. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to bash them every 2 seconds, but show them that you have a brain, show them that you're an American citizen, and show them that you see through their deception, because it's when people step up and challenge the culture and show them that they're not pushovers, that's when the Republican Party will change. If there's a politician who's above it all, who can do 50 times the corruption of what everyone else does, and nobody's allowed to talk about it because they like them so much, well, that's the candidate they're going to use and tap, because that's the easiest one to push the agenda through. America gets what it deserves. We are not the victim to Biden. We are not the victim to Trump. We are not the victim to Mitch McConnell. We're getting what we deserve. We're a weak country. The left is insanely weak. The right pretends to be super tough, but acts super weak. I'm not asking people to be hateful or mean or go out and do something crazy. No, stay peaceful, stay calm, but show people that you're paying attention. And politicians are supposed to work for you. They're like professional middlemen and car salesmen. Stop acting like they're the Beatles. God bless you guys. I hope this report was eye-opening. And it doesn't matter who wins the Republican primary if our party and our base is this fake and pathetic. That's the message I'm trying to get. Whether it's DeSantis, whether it's Trump, whether it's the new pharma bro, the right-wing Barack Obama guy, I don't really care. Just show them that you have journalistic integrity. Do not turn into the establishment and the media that everybody made a career hating and fighting. Please. God bless you. I appreciate you. Thanks to everybody showing love and supporting. That's why I'm able to do this. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk. For $5 a month, you can help support me. Support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description, or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying, so I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/dreamrarechat or @dreamrarechat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. Dream Rare Chat at Telegram.